Two Tomalian soldiers, Mbolo and Natuwe, were on a scouting mission just outside the outskirts of Tomali Kingdom, a few miles from their camp. They were searching for enemy footprints. Without warning, the thunderous sounds of countless footsteps marching into battle echoed in the distance. "Can you hear that?" Mbolo said. To which Natuwe replied, "Yes, I can. It's the sound of the mighty Ojah Army approaching. We have to warn the others." They both looked shaken and terrified as they raced down the bush path towards their camp. The dreaded mighty Ojah Army was feared and revered throughout the entire Dua kingdom, a kingdom spanning many miles across a vast landscape of green and lush vegetation. The legend of the army's invisibility could be traced back to centuries past. It was said they had never been defeated. There were various wild rumors about the Ojah Army, which only intensified the fear and terror felt by surrounding kingdoms whenever the army's name was mentioned. Some claimed the Ojah Army drank the blood of its captors, thereby giving them superhuman strength. Others claimed the Ojah Army won their battles without even lifting a finger. And so our story begins in the heart of the lush green continent of West Africa, nestled between the towering mountains and the vast Mbezi River, lay the beautiful and prosperous kingdom of Burma, a kingdom characterized with abundant wildlife, valiant warriors, and hard-working fishermen. The late King Dua had only 3 daughters and no sons. Tara, the eldest, was entitled. Duni, the second daughter, was spoilt, and Mina, who was the youngest and prettiest, was a young woman whose beauty was matched only by her courage and wisdom. Before the king passed, he had set in motion a compulsory trial to be undertaken by his 3 daughters. The one who passes the trial would automatically succeed him as the next ruler. Mina excelled in the trial with great success, while both of her sisters failed. As a result, she inherited the throne of Dua from her late father, the king, and was crowned Queen Mina of the Dua kingdom. She was beloved by her people, not just for her beauty, which was said to rival that of the goddess, but for her undying dedication to the welfare of Burma. Queen Mina had a supernatural skill. She could understand and talk to birds. Unknown to her, her sisters were not happy in the slightest that she became queen, and thus the seed of jealousy was sown. The kingdom thrived under her rule, with its people living in harmony, their lives intertwined with the rhythms of nature. The Mbezi River, revered as the lifeblood of Burma, provided them with fish and water, while the dense forests and fertile fields ensured a bountiful harvest year after year. The people of Burma were peaceful but fierce when it came to defending their homeland. Yet, as peaceful as Burma was, dark clouds began to gather on the horizon. The kingdom found itself under the looming threat of a powerful enemy, the Ojah. The kingdom of Ojah, ruled by the fearsome King Zozo, was a land of warriors. Ojah was known far and wide for its formidable army, the Ojah Army, which had never been defeated in battle. Surrounding kingdoms trembled at the mere mention of their name, and legends spoke of the army's supernatural strength and invisibility. The Ojah Army was notorious for its relentless raids, targeting the smaller, weaker kingdoms that lay within its reach. No one knew how they managed to conquer every kingdom they faced without suffering a single loss, and fear spread like wildfire. It wasn't long before the Ojah Army turned its gaze towards Burma. There was a border kingdom they needed to conquer first before gaining access to Burma. One fateful evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon and the stars began to twinkle in the night sky, a scout returned to Burma's capital. Breathless and terrified, he brought with him news of impending doom. The Ojah Army was on the march, and their next target was the neighboring kingdom, Tomali, which was close to Burma's borders. This kingdom was the only thing standing between the Ojah Army and Burma. Queen Mina listened calmly as the scout relayed the news. Though her heart pounded with worry, she did not let fear cloud her judgment. She knew that Burma was at risk of being completely destroyed if they did not act quickly.
"We must prepare for battle,"
said Bakuri, the leader of the Burma army. He was a tall man with a deep voice and a scar running down his left cheek.
"Our warriors are brave and skilled. We will meet the Ojah Army on the battlefield and drive them away,"
he said. But Queen Mina shook her head. "I have heard the tales of the Ojah Army," she said, her voice steady but thoughtful. "They have never been defeated, not because their soldiers are greater in number or skill, but because of something else, something we do not understand. If we march into battle without knowing their secrets, we will surely lose. I will visit the great river spirit in Mbezi for direction." Our words hung in the air like a dark cloud. The council members looked at each other, unsure of what to say. The fear of the Ojah Army was evidently visible, and even the bravest among them knew that they faced an enemy unlike any other. There was really no time to waste. The Ojah Army was already on the march, and in less than 6 days they would reach Tomali Kingdom, which left little to no time for a proper plan and strategy. This left Queen Mina slightly worried, but she was calm. A few days after the council meeting, Queen Mina stood at the edge of the Mbezi River. The sun had just risen, casting a golden hue over the water's surface. The river was sacred to the people of Burma, and they believed that the spirit of the river Mbezi was a powerful force that watched over them. She had come to seek the spirit's guidance. She knew that if anyone could help her uncover the secrets of the Ojah Army, it was the river spirit Mbezi. Clad in a flowing white gown, Queen Mina knelt by the riverbank and whispered a prayer. She spoke of the danger facing her people and her desire to protect them, and of the sacrifice she was willing to make. "O great spirit of the Mbezi River," she prayed, her voice trembling with emotion, "I come to you as a humble servant of Burma, as a queen who loves her people more than life itself. I ask for your wisdom, your guidance, and your protection. If it is a sacrifice you require, then take me, but grant me the knowledge I seek, so that I may save my kingdom." As she finished her prayer, the waters of the river began to ripple, though there was no wind. Mina's heart pounded as she watched the water swell and rise before her. forming a shimmering figure of light. The spirit of Mbezi had appeared.
Queen Mina,
The spirit spoke in a voice that echoed like the rush of the river itself.
your courage and love for your people are commendable, but the path I see before you is fraught with great danger. Be wary, beware of betrayal, for you will find yourself in the enemy's camp by the hands of those you love.
The spirit's light seemed to glow brighter as it spoke.
But be courageous, for all this is part of the prophecy that was foretold. A young queen shall rise and make the ultimate sacrifice to save her people.
The spirit continued.
To uncover the secret of your enemies, you must offer yourself to their ruler. To get the information you seek will require patience, perseverance, and sacrifice. Only then will the secret be revealed.
I understand, Mina said, her voice firm. I will do whatever it takes to save Burma. The spirit regarded her with what seemed like sadness and admiration.
So be it, brave queen. Remember, the power of the Ojah Army is not what it seems. The truth, once known, will set your people free.
With that, the spirit faded back into the river, leaving Mina alone on the bank. The queen stood, her heart heavy but filled with resolve. She knew what she had to do, and she was ready to face whatever dangers lay ahead. Since Mina became queen, her elder sisters, Tara and Duni, had been consumed with jealousy. Reduced to mere palace council members, they were excluded from key decision-making, which fueled their hate and resentment. Their bitterness grew so intense that they began plotting ways to get rid of Queen Mina. The news of the Ojah Army's approach spread quickly through Burma. Fear gripped the hearts of the people, and many began to lose hope. But Queen Mina did not falter. Meanwhile, Tara and Duni, Queen Mina's elder sisters, had just returned from a diplomatic mission where they met a slaver called Maraki. Maraki was an ally and a friend of King Zozo. They were fed up with Queen Mina, and their jealousy got the better part of them. They hatched a plan with Maraki to have Queen Mina kidnapped and sold to the slavers. Queen Mina had the best intentions to leave the kingdom in the hands of Tara, the eldest daughter, till when she returned, if at all she returned. Queen Mina was sitting in her chambers when Duni, her sister, walked in. While Mina wasn't looking, Duni quickly swapped the apple in the fruit bowl on the table with the drugged apple she was holding behind her back. She innocently ate the swapped apple that was drug-free and offered the other one to Mina. Queen Mina smiled, took the drugged apple and ate it. After some minutes, she started feeling dizzy. As she laid down to catch her breath, the last thing she remembered was Duni's face staring down at her, nodding with an evil grin. Hours later, she woke up, hands tied, in a horse-drawn cart with other dirty-looking women in tattered clothes. The women were crying. They had been taken from their villages and sold as slaves. "Where are they taking us?" Queen Mina asked one of the women, to which one replied with tears, "Ojah Kingdom." When Queen Mina heard this, she smiled sheepishly. Her sisters, unknowingly to them, had accelerated her plan to get to Ojah Kingdom. They thought they had gotten rid of Queen Mina for good, but as luck would have it, they had only succeeded in helping to fulfill the prophecy about the young queen. As the cart carrying Queen Mina and the other slave women approached the Ojah kingdom, her heart pounded with both fear and determination. The task before her was daunting. As the cart passed through the city gates, a soldier directed the cart to the slavers' bay. This was the point where slavers from all parts of the kingdom came to purchase slaves. When the women were lined up to be viewed and sold, what stood out the most was the unfaltering beauty and grace of Queen Mina. Even in slave clothes, she was still stunning. Maraki, a trusted ally and friend of King Zozo, was having a drink at the slavers' bay, and when he saw Queen Mina, he immediately approached Matamba, the taskmaster and owner of slavers' bay.
How much for her? 50 kalis.
Matamba replied.
She will make a perfect gift for King Zozo.
Maraki retorted, to which Matamba replied,
Certainly.
Maraki paid the money and took Queen Mina, and together they got on horseback and galloped towards the Ojah palace. He obviously knew she was Queen Mina, but he had to act as if he had no idea to divert suspicion. This was the plan all along, to sell Queen Mina to the slavers. King Zozo was a man of imposing stature, with broad shoulders and a fierce gaze that seemed to pierce through anyone who met his eyes. He wore a crown of gold and a robe of fine silk, and his presence exuded power and authority. In the royal courts, there was opulence and real wealth on display. The walls were decked with golden frames. The courtyard was adorned with golden statues of the heads of kings King Zozo had defeated, and golden shining lights were hanging from the ceiling. Maraki came before King Zozo and bowed slightly.
My friend, O great king, I present to you a gift from my travels.
Queen Mina was then brought before King Zozo. I am Queen Mina of Boma, she started, her voice unwavering. King Zozo and all his royal council all burst out laughing. You, a queen? King Zozo said in disbelief. Queen Mina was dressed in dirty slave clothes, but her royal bangle was still on her wrist. A wise counselor observed the royal bangle on her wrist and then whispered something into King Zozo's ears. Interesting, King Zozo said. So you are the famous Queen Mina, whose beauty I've heard so much about. What brings you to my kingdom? I know of your plans to conquer Tomali kingdom, Queen Mina said, and even your soldiers are preparing to attack as we speak. I offer myself to you in exchange for the safety of my people. King Zozo looked at the other members of the royal council and said, here is a queen who is willing to sacrifice herself to save her people. I am deeply touched. However, King Zozo raised an eyebrow, intrigued. You would sacrifice yourself for them? What makes you think I would honor such a bargain? Because, Mina replied, I believe that even a king as powerful as you can appreciate the value of a queen. King Zozo studied her for a moment, a sly smile playing on his lips. He could see that Mina was not like other captives. There was a fire in her eyes, a strength that intrigued him. Very well, he said finally. I will accept your offer. You will become my queen, and in return, your people will be spared. Mina's heart skipped a beat at the unexpected turn of events. She had not anticipated becoming Ojah's queen, but she knew that this would give her even greater access to the secrets she sought. With a nod of acceptance, she stepped forward and allowed King Zozo to place a crown upon her head, making her his anointed queen. Back in Tomali, two Tomalian soldiers Mbolo and Natue were on a scouting mission just outside the outskirts of Tomali Kingdom, a few miles from their camp. They were searching for enemy footprints. Without warning, the thunderous sounds of countless footsteps marching into battle echoed in the distance. "Can you hear that?" Mbolo said, to which Natue replied, "Yes, I can. It's the sound of the mighty Ojah Army approaching. We have to warn the others." They both looked shaken and terrified as they raced down the bush path towards their camp. The dreaded mighty Ojah Army was feared and revered throughout the entire Dua kingdom, a kingdom spanning many miles across a vast landscape of green and lush vegetation. The legend of the army's invisibility could be traced back to centuries past. It was said they had never been defeated. There were various wild rumors about the Ojah Army, which only intensified the fear and terror felt by surrounding kingdoms whenever the army's name was mentioned. Some claimed the Ojah Army drank the blood of its captors, thereby giving them superhuman strength. Others claimed the Ojah Army won their battles without even lifting a finger. Their secret remained intact and undiscovered, passed down through the generations. Whenever an enemy kingdom heard the name Ojah, they would immediately surrender and flee the battlefield. As the years went by, even the image of the army vanished from memory, with most people merrily describing them as Ngala, the invisible battle spirits. The Ojah Army became so confident in their reputation that they eventually stopped carrying weapons into battle, bringing only drums, food, and drinks instead. They knew that as soon as the enemy heard them approaching, they would flee, signaling them to roll out the drums and start celebrating their victory. And so it became tradition. The Ojah Army would march to battle without weapons. However, this was an extremely well-guarded secret that no one beyond the battle squad was aware of. Even the wives of the soldiers were ignorant of this secret. The Ojah soldiers were led to the dreaded Akuma shrine, where they were compelled to swear an oath of secrecy, with severe consequences awaiting anyone who broke the vow. Back in Tomali, there was widespread panic and unrest. News had gotten round that the mighty Ojah Army was approaching, and as sure as the rising of the sun, the people of Tomali began evacuating the city. They knew they had no strength to counter such a formidable opponent as the Ojah Army, and so they decided to abandon the city. This was another achievement for the Ojah Army. They had won another battle without even fighting. Meanwhile, back in Ojah Kingdom, life was a stark contrast to the peaceful existence Mina had known in Burma. The kingdom was built on power and conquest, and its people were raised to believe that strength was the ultimate virtue. As Queen Mina adjusted to her new role, she remained ever vigilant, knowing that her mission was far from over. Days turned into weeks, and Mina carefully observed everything around her. She attended the council meetings where King Zozo and his generals discussed their strategies and plans for future conquests. She listened to the conversations of the soldiers, learning about their fears and weaknesses. But the most important revelation came when she overheard a conversation between two soldiers. They were discussing the last kingdom the Ojah Army conquered. The way those enemy soldiers fled as our army approached really made me laugh. One soldier remarked. The other responded, "Who would ever guess that it's our enchanted anklets creating the sound of thousands of footsteps?" Mina's ears perked up at the mention of the anklets. "Yes," the other agreed. "The anklets are enchanted. When the soldiers march, the anklets create the sound of countless footsteps, making it seem as if our army is far greater than it actually is. The enemy hears the sound and is overcome with fear, believing they are outnumbered. They flee before the battle even begins." Mina's heart raced as she realized the significance of what she had just learned. The secret to the Ojah's army's success was not in their numbers, but in the illusion they created. The enchanted anklets made their army appear invincible, causing their enemies to surrender without a fight. She knew that this information was the key to saving our people, but escaping Ojah with this knowledge would not be easy. Back in Boma Kingdom, the council had gathered and everyone was waiting for Queen Mina to appear and tell them what to do next. Suddenly, two palace guards rushed in and broke the disturbing news that Queen Mina had been kidnapped. When the people heard this, they were very sad. They knew even with their queen, they were powerless against the Ojah army. But now that their queen had been kidnapped, their hope was truly lost. Princess Tara was swiftly crowned queen in light of recent events. She promised the people that she would ensure Queen Mina's safe return, though these were merely empty words. As the days passed, Queen Mina began to devise a plan for her escape. She knew that she could not stay in Ojah much longer without risking discovery. The moment she revealed the secret of the anklets to her people, the Ojah army's reign of terror would come to an end. But escaping from the heavily guarded kingdom would require cunning and bravery. One night, under the cover of darkness, Mina quietly gathered a few supplies and prepared to leave the palace. She slipped out of her chambers and made her way to the stables, where she had arranged for a horse to be prepared. As she mounted the horse, she heard the distant sounds of footsteps and voices of soldiers approaching. With a swift kick, she urged the horse forward, galloping out of the palace grounds and into the night. It wasn't long before King Zozo heard Queen Mina had escaped. He was very angry and sad at the same time. He knew what he had to do, but he was already falling in love with Queen Mina. Mina rode hard and fast, knowing that she had to put as much distance between herself and Ojah as possible. The road back to Boma was long and treacherous, and she could not afford to be caught. King Zozo quickly summoned Akiki, the most skillful and dangerous archer in all of Ojah Kingdom. It was said he could nail any target thousands of kilometers away with ease. The king summoned him with only one directive, and that was to eliminate Queen Mina. Akiki bowed low before King Zozo and left. He made his way to the highest mountain in all of Ojah in the dead of the night, and from there he could spot Queen Mina's royal bangle shimmering under the moonlight. This was all he needed to pinpoint her location. With his bow drawn, he released an arrow that gently whistled as it passed through the wind en route to its target. Queen Mina was still riding fast into the night. Her resolve never wavered. She knew that the fate of her kingdom depended on her success. She could see the border in sight. As she was getting really close, Akiki's arrow unfortunately pierced her heart from behind. As she fell from the horseback and with her last dying breath, she summoned a raven and whispered the secret of the Ojah Army, sending the messenger bird back to her people to warn them. With that, Queen Mina tragically died from the wounds she had sustained. King Zozo sent a package to Burma. Inside the package was the blood-soaked golden bangle worn by Queen Mina while she was still alive, with a message attached to the package which read, "Your queen defied me, and now she is dead. No one who defies me lives. You are next." Meanwhile, back in Burma, Bakuri, the leader of the Burma army, like Queen Mina, also had the gift of communicating with birds. As he was sitting in his room, busy sharpening his sword, the messenger raven appeared near the window and began singing in a sorrowful, sad tune. Bakuri could understand everything the bird was saying, and it was there he got to find out that Queen Mina had passed. He also got to know about the enchanted anklet, which was the secret of the Ojah Army. The package King Zozo sent was received by Bakuri, which further proved beyond reasonable doubt that Queen Mina had truly died in Ojah Kingdom. It was a dark period in Burma. The city mourned their beloved queen for many days. Bakuri, the leader of the army, summoned the people and addressed them.
"It is no more news that our beloved Queen Mina is dead, but her sacrifice was not in vain. While she laid dying, she sent a messenger bird to tell us the secret of the Ojah Army."
A sudden silence fell over the room as he spoke, with everyone eager to learn the closely guarded secret of the Ojah Army, which had been preserved for centuries.
"Their secret,"
he continued,
"is not in the strength of their numbers, but the sound effects their enchanted anklets make when marching into battle. They sound like 1,000,000 soldiers marching, but in actual fact, their numbers are significantly fewer than that. They are just humans, not battle spirits, not gods. And now that we know their secrets, we will ensure they pay dearly for this evil act."
With that final charge, Bakuri rallied the soldiers of Burma. Everyone was geared and ready for the war with the Ojah Army. Knowing their secrets now gave them improved courage and strength. When the day of the battle arrived, Burma's warriors were ready. They took their positions along the kingdom's borders, waiting for the Ojah Army to appear. As expected, the sound of countless footsteps soon echoed through the air, signaling the approach of the enemy. But this time, the warriors of Burma did not waver. They stood their ground, their hearts stilled by the knowledge that the Ojah Army's power was nothing more than an illusion. When the two armies finally met on the battlefield, the soldiers of Ojah were shocked to find that their opponent had not fled as expected. The illusion of the anklets had failed, and the Ojah Army, though still formidable, was now vulnerable. The battle was one-sided. It was total destruction. The Ojah Army brought no weapons to the war, only drums, food, and drinks. They thought they would have it their way, like they always do. But unfortunately for them this time, the tables were turned. In the end, the Ojah Army was defeated. The illusion that had kept them invisible for so long was shattered, and King Zozo was forced to retreat, his power broken. The victory over the Ojah Army was celebrated throughout Burma and the entire realm. Queen Mina was hailed as a hero, her bravery and wisdom praised by all. She had not only saved her kingdom, but had also exposed the truth behind the legend of the Ojah Army, freeing the surrounding lands from the fear that had plagued them for so long. Finally, in the aftermath of the battle, Makuri was captured and he confessed to conniving with Tara and Duni, the evil sisters, to sell Queen Mina into slavery. The sisters were banished from the kingdom forever due to this, and a new ruler was crowned. Queen Mina's legacy lived on long after her passing. Her story was passed down through the generations, a tale of a queen who had risked everything for her people. And so, the legend of Queen Mina, the courageous, brave, and beautiful ruler of Burma, became a part of the rich tapestry of African folklore, a story of love, sacrifice, and the triumph of truth over illusion. Thank you so much for watching, and please like, share, and subscribe, and put on the notification bell so you don't miss future interesting African folk tale stories till I bring to you another enchanting African tale. This is the African Storyteller.